What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC 284. We have Islam Makhachev going against Alexander Volkanovski.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
And we are back, and we are talking a very good card here in UFC 284. We have two title fights. We have, of course, the main event, Islam Makhachev, Alexander Volkanovski. The co-main event, we got Josh Emmett going against Yair Rodriguez. And I have 10 bets that I want to talk to you guys about. And as always, going to break down this card from a betting perspective and a betting perspective only. If you do want a further, more in-depth breakdown on why I like which fighter, on why I am betting what, I did post a full card breakdown and prediction video on Monday. So be sure to check that out. And I also did a live stream on Friday night. So go check that out as well if you have not already. Before we get into it, if you guys can please leave a like on the video. One small like does go a very long way. Also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Getting really close to 19,000 subs. I think we're less than like 50 away. So if you do like the content, be sure to subscribe. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Let's try to hit 19,000 subscribers by the time these fights start. I feel like we can do it. Like I said, we're only like 50 away, and I do appreciate all the support week in and week out from you guys. You guys are awesome. Starting the year out really good, 3-0 in terms of winning and losing weeks, and hoping to make it 4-0 here. This is a little bit tougher of a card, I think, but there are some spots that stick out. You know, I did all the tape study, all the research. I got all the bets in by like Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, and I think it's going to be a fun card, most importantly. So I say we get into it here, and we're going to start with the first fight on the card. We have Tahugov going against Elvis Brenner. We got Tahugov, he's around minus 600. We got Brenner, who is around plus 400. Tahugov, the biggest favorite on the entire card here, and I do have a bet here to kick off the card. So I have the under 2.5 rounds. I got it at plus 130 earlier in the week for a half a unit. I think it's around like the plus 110, plus 116 I see on FanDuel Sportsbook. And yeah, Tahugov's not much of a finisher in the UFC, but man, this guy's a lot of power. This guy's going out there and dropping dudes early. He does have a couple finishes in the UFC, though he's not completely a decisionator, but man, this is going to be a big step down for Tahugov. Like, this is going to be like the easiest matchup for Tahugov since like 2014. It's been almost 10 years since he's taken like a big step down like this against Elvis Brenner. Like, he's going out there and fighting very, very good fighters. So I feel like I like the step down here. I like the fact that Brenner's stepping in here on short notice. Brenner extremely untested, and I don't think Brenner has really anything for Tahugov here. So I think Brenner's submission or bust, and good luck submitting Zybar Tahugov. So I think the money line is warranted. He's minus 600 now, but if you got in on him earlier around like the minus 400, minus 500 range, I think he's a solid parlay piece. I think he wins more often than not. And like I said, I like that under 2.5 rounds. I have half a unit on it, plus 130. Also considered the Tahugov inside the distance around the plus 140. I think he should finish Elvis Brenner here, and I think it comes early as well. So starting off the night with some violence here. Next, we have Shane Young going against Blake Builder. Yeah, nothing here. Just a fight I want nothing to do with. Not high on either of these guys. You know, I feel like I gotta pick Shane Young just because I think he's going to be the better striker here. I feel like he can keep this on the feet for the majority of the time and outstrike a very hittable. Builder's chin's questionable as well. I mean, I think the dude's tough, but he's getting dropped like. I saw him get dropped probably like upwards of 10 times, and that's a concern, but at least he's recovering, right? Just nothing sticking out on this fight. I like Shane Young to win the fight, but I'm not laying chalk on Shane Young, who's not won in a very, very long time. It's a big pass here. I know a lot of people are on the under in this matchup, but man, both these guys are super tough. Builder's never been finished in his career, and Shane Young's only been finished once by knockout in like 19 fights. So it's a big, big pass. If I was forced to bet anything, it'd be, I guess, the over, but I'm not forced to bet anything on this fight. I'm passing, not touching this one. The pick Shane Young, but zero confidence in this one. Next, we have Lookboonmee going against Elise Reed, and I did it. I didn't want to do it, but I did it. I pulled the trigger on Lookboonmee. I got her at minus 250, though. And I have 2 units on it. I was like, man, what is a responsible amount to put on Lookboonmee? Because if you guys know me, if you guys have been following me, you know, laying chalk on women's MMA is what has kind of killed me in the past, and I've been getting away from it. I actually haven't laid chalk on women's MMA probably in probably close to a year on. It's been a long time. I think the last time was probably either Lupita Godinez or against Angela Hill, or Corey McKenna against Elise Reed. But I stopped doing that. But man, I really like Loma in the spot. I mean, I just don't see where Elise Reed poses any problems here. I think at range is where Elise Reed's going to have the most success, but even then, I favor Loma there. I like the leg kicks of Loma, the body kicks, very active with those kicks, very hard kicks of Loma. But, in the clinch, it's going to be Loma all day. She has nasty knees, nasty elbows. The cardio goes to Loma. The wrestling goes to Loma. She has those great trips. She can take down Elise Reed at will. And if Loma Lookboonmee gets on top of Elise Reed, it's going to be trouble. We saw Sam Hughes go out there and look like Islam Makhachev against Elise Reed, just dominate her on the mat, potentially finish her. And my hot take of the week is I think Loma gets a finish here. I think she's able to finish Elise Reed. Did not pull the trigger on a finish bet. I might sprinkle it, but nothing serious. Just because this is a 115-pound fight, and I honestly would have liked a little bit better of a price for Loma inside the distance just because she's never done it before. But yeah, either way, I like Loma in this fight. I think she's a solid parlay piece. But yeah, I have 2 units on her at minus 250. We'll see if it works out. I mean, I'm confident in her, but, really how confident can you be in a kind of a low-level fight like this? But I like Loma. I think Loma's actually pretty good, to be honest. So I think she should get it done, and I have 2 units on her at minus 250. My most terrifying play of the week, but I think she comes through. Next, we have Jack Jenkins going against Don Sheynis. Yeah, nothing here. I mean, I'm not impressed with either guy, to be honest, especially Don Sheynis. And even Jack Jenkins is a huge favorite here. Not completely sold on the guy, but this is a matchup I think he should go out here and win. But I'm not laying minus 335 on him. One thing I did consider was like the over 1.5, but that's going to be a huge sweat just seeing how Don Sheynis comes out in his fights like a complete madman. Lean is over 1.5, but no bet here for me. The pick's Jack Jenkins, but not touching this one as well. Next, we have Jamie Malarkey going against Francisco Prado. I do have 2 bets here. The first bet was my first bet of the card. It was actually 2 weeks ago. They got the lines out early, and it was the under 2.5 rounds. I got it at minus 130 for 1 unit, and then I also have 1 unit on the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 163. And yeah, those lines haven't really moved much. I see like the under 2.5 on one book at like minus 127 actually, which is weird because everybody seems to be on this under and this fight doesn't go to decision, and I'm right there with everybody here, and that's kind of scary. But man, this is a spot I would bet time and time again. Does it hit? We'll have to see come Saturday. But we have Francisco Prado, a guy that's never been over 2.5 rounds. We have Francisco Prado, traveling across the entire world on short notice, like a week and a half short notice against a killer in Jamie Malarkey. And we could take a look at these finish rates here. We have Jamie Malarkey, a 87% finish rate, and then we have Prado with that 100% finish rate. Both guys super dangerous, both guys defensively irresponsible. I question the cardio, the competition of Prado as well, and I think it's Prado early. He's going to have opportunities early, and I think if Malarkey's able to survive that early storm, I think Malarkey puts it on him. I think Malarkey breaks this guy. I think it's going to look a lot like that Devontae Smith where, Smith had some success early, but Malarkey pushed forward and kind of broke him there. So I do like Malarkey to win the fight in the second round, but what I like more than anything is that under 2.5, I have 1 unit on at minus 130, and then that fight doesn't go to decision, 1 unit on that minus 163. It's one of my favorite spots on the card, but a lot of people are on it. Next, we have Kletzen Rodriguez going against Shannon Ross. Rodriguez, massive favorite. Oh, he actually opened up like minus 185, and he's now minus 320. Shannon Ross is now plus 270. So a lot of money coming in on Kletzen Rodriguez. And I do have a bet here. I have half a unit on Kletzen Rodriguez to win inside the distance at plus 140 on Bet365. That line is still there currently. And yeah, I think he goes out there and finishes Ross. I think Ross is not a bad fighter by any means, but one thing I don't like about Ross is the fact that he goes out there and he gets into brawls, he gets into these wars, and he leaves a lot of openings to be hit. And I don't think he has the durability. And I know it's weird saying that at flyweight, but this guy's getting dropped a ton. Not only in his Dana White's Contender Series fight where he was dropped 3 times and knocked out, but he's getting dropped outside the Contender Series as well. So I think Rodriguez lands something big at some point, potentially a head kick even, and knocks out Shannon Ross in this fight. So instead of laying the minus 350 or whatever it is on Rodriguez, I took the inside the distance, half a unit there at plus 140. So yeah, give me some Rodriguez there. And also didn't mind the under, but it got kind of smashed throughout the week, so I think if you can still get the under at plus money, I don't hate that, but I'm not sure how many books still have that at plus money. Next, we have Josh Kulibaba going against Melsik Bagasaryuk. Yeah, nothing here. I mean, it's a pick 'em for a reason. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it's a fight that actually goes to decision. Melsik probably has more finishing upside here, but the reason I can't pull the trigger on Melsik is the cardio. This guy does slow down as the fight goes on. He's still able to fight through it, don't get me wrong, but it's just not a great look. I think these guys are well matched. I favor Melsik just because I think this fight is going to take place on the feet for 15 minutes, and I like the tools Melsik brings into this fight. I think he's the better striker in this fight, but the cardio is the one thing that's making me kind of stay away. So, yeah, nothing sticking out here. No prop sticking out. No money line. It's a big pass for me. All right, next we have Tyson Pedro going against Modestas Bukauskas. I do have a bet here. Kind of a contrarian take, I guess, which is weird to say it's contrarian, but I'm taking a shot on the under 1.5 rounds. I got it at plus 117 for a half a unit. I know the over 1.5 is a very popular play this week, but we have Tyson Pedro, who's a pretty big favorite, around minus 240, minus 250. And when Tyson Pedro wins fights, it's literally in the first round. I think Tyson Pedro has not won a fight, if I'm not mistaken, outside the first round, maybe like one. But I know for sure inside the UFC, when his fights go past the first round, he loses that fight. I don't rate Modestas Bukauskas at all. I think he's a very popular dog this week, but man, I'm not a big fan of this guy's game. I think Tyson Pedro goes out there and starches him in the first round. This is a fight where I'm going to be looking at it from a live betting standpoint. Like if Bukauskas is able to survive the first round, you probably do want to take a look at him live, see what that line is, just because Pedro does not win fights typically outside that first round. But for me, I'm kind of more so on the Pedro goes out there, either knocks this guy out, I question the chin of Bukauskas, or takes him down and submits him. Pedro's ground game is no joke. So give me Pedro inside the distance. That under 1.5 is what I'm on, half a unit, plus 117. We'll see what happens. Next, we got Jimmy Crute going against Alonzo Menifield. This is, I believe, my biggest bet fight of the card. So I like the under quite a bit. I have 1 unit on the under 1.5 minus 110. Got that on DraftKings earlier in the week. And then I also put 1.5 units on the fight won't start round 3. Minus 190, that was also on DraftKings. So those lines have moved throughout the week. It's another very popular play, and I can definitely understand why. I mean, we got a striker versus grappler matchup where Crute, has some knockout ability as well, but, Crute's going to want to get this fight down to the mat. I think it's going to be easier said than done as Alonzo Menifield, very physically strong and 91% takedown defense, but if Crute's able to take down Alonzo Menifield, he's going to run through him like a hot knife through butter. If Alonzo Menifield's able to stuff the takedowns, there's a good chance Alonzo Menifield can knock this guy out. Jimmy Crute coming off of back-to-back knockout losses. Jimmy Crute very hittable, only a 50% strike in defense, and one thing Alonzo Menifield does really well is he hits really hard. So I think somebody's getting served here. I think somebody's getting served here pretty early, whether it's a Alonzo Menifield first round KO, or I even think Crute honestly can knock out Menifield. We saw OSP knock out Menifield, right? So, but if Crute gets the fight down to the mat, I mean, it's going to be over shortly after. Crute's ground game is one of the best ground games in the division. I mean, went out there and submitted Paul Craig, if that tells you anything, in that third round. So, and he's young too. I know he's taking a layoff, but Crute's young. I think he's a lot of upside, but he's going to want to get this fight down to the mat, I think. As far as a pick, I'm actually picking Menifield for the upset. I don't mind people taking shots on like the Menifield first round KO, but what I like more than anything is that violence. Under 1.5, 1 unit minus 110, and then the fight won't start round 3, 1.5 units minus 190. Give me some violence in this one to kick off that main card. Next, we have Justin Tafa going against Parker Porter. The worst fight on the card is on the main card. It doesn't make much sense to me. Having to pay $80 to watch, Justin Tafa, who lost to Jared Vandera, and then, Parker Porter. This is bad. I mean, I'm not betting on this fight. Nothing's sticking out. If anything, it'd be a dog or pass just because I feel like nobody should be favored in this fight. If you like Tafa, you probably like the KO, or you like the KO1. If you like Porter, you probably like the decision, but you won't catch me betting on this fight this week. It's a pass. The pick's Porter, just because I feel like he has more paths to victory with the wrestling, with the output, the cardio. I feel like Tafa, if he wins, it's probably KO1. But yeah, I'm not betting on this fight, not even thinking about betting on this fight. I was considering like the decision only for Porter or like the finish only for Tafa, but they're all over those, and I'm not laying juice on this fight here. So it's a big pass for me. Just a terrible. It's on the main card, which is just wild to me. But anyway, we have Jack Della Maddalena going against Randy Brown. I do have a bet here. This was another bet that I bet 2 weeks ago, and the line hasn't moved a ton. We have Jack Della Maddalena, Randy Brown under 2.5 rounds, 1 unit minus 130. Yeah, this line just didn't make a ton of sense to me, considering Jack Della Maddalena has only been over that 2.5 round mark once, and it was against Angelusa, who is next level tough, and Jack almost finished him like 50 times, and Jack almost got finished in that fight by submission as well. So yeah, I think Jack does go out here and finish Randy Brown, but look at these finish numbers. We have Jack Della Maddalena finished in both his losses. They were a while ago, but still finished nonetheless by knockout and by sub. And then we have Randy Brown has been finished in 3 of his 4 losses, 75%. Randy Brown does leave a lot of openings, especially as the fight goes on. He He relies a lot on that head movement with his hands down, which I don't like, and Jack potentially catches him there. But if Randy Brown's able to get the fight down to the mat, we've seen Jack in a bunch of bad spots on the ground, and Randy Brown is a really good grappler. So I feel like this kind of covers both sides. If Jack wins, I think it's a knockout, and I think it comes early. I'm personally picking a first-round knockout for Jack Della Maddalena. And if Randy Brown wins, I guess it could be a type of situation where he kind of sticks on the outside and all that. But if Randy Brown does get the fight down to the mat, I think that sub is going to be live there. I know a lot of people on that sub this week. It was like plus 1,200. It's been bet down a little bit, but give me the under 2.5 here. I also don't mind Jack inside the distance, Jack KO, but give me the under 2.5 rounds to cover the potential Brown sub there. So I do like Jack quite a bit in this fight though. All right, next we have the Yair Rodriguez going against Josh Emmett. I put a half unit on the fight doesn't go to decision at plus 125. The lines moved a tad. I think it's like plus 117. Half a unit there for the fight doesn't go. Yeah, I think somebody gets knocked out here. Both these guys have a ton of power, especially Josh Emmett. Dude, the guy has like 11 knockdowns in the division. At one point, there were 7 fights in a row where he landed a knockdown. So yeah, if Josh Emmett wins this fight, I think it's probably by KO. And on the flip side, we have seen Josh Emmett knocked out before, and Yair has a ton of power in his own right. So I kind of like violence here. I think these guys are going to stand and bang for 25 minutes, and with the power both these guys possess, I can definitely see a finish, and at plus money for 5 rounds, I'm going to take a shot on that. So half a unit, fight doesn't go to decision, plus 125. As far as a pick, I kind of lean Emmett, but there are some rumors about the potential injuries. I've heard that he has like a hip injury. People are saying he has like a shoulder injury. So maybe he has a leg injury. I mean, Josh Emmett's extremely injured in this fight apparently, and if that's the case, it just makes me like the fight doesn't go to decision even more. So we'll see. A lot of narrative there, but give me the violence if anything. And then we have the main event, Islam Makhachev going against Alexander Volkanovski. Yeah, nothing on the main event yet. There might be something I add. I mean, I was potentially just considering hammering the fight doesn't go to decision, but I wanted to kind of wait it out because a lot of people are on the, have the opinion of the fight does go the distance. A lot of people are on that over 1.5 and over 2.5, which makes sense, but I kind of expected this fight doesn't go decision line to come down like a lot. But no, it's actually went the other way, which is just weird because I don't really see many people on the violence route in this one. So I can't touch it now. I see like the fight doesn't go decision, like minus 180, minus 200 now. I could have got it earlier in the week at like minus 145. I probably should have pulled the trigger there. But yeah, it looks like I missed the boat. Don't hate a shot on Islam inside the distance if you can get it at plus money, but I don't really see it at plus money anywhere. It's just a main event I think I'm going to stay away from. I'm very confident in Islam. But to be honest, as the week has went on, my confidence has slowly like came down. And don't get me wrong, I'm still confident he gets it done, but I was like super confident earlier in the week. But yeah, I like Islam. I like Islam inside the distance, but from like a betting perspective, as far as like putting money on this fight, nothing's sticking out. I know it sucks not putting money on the main event, but I just don't want to force anything. Like I don't want to lay like minus 200 on the fight doesn't go. I don't want to lay chalk on Islam inside the distance against Alexander Volkanovski, as tough as they come. So it's a big pass for me from a betting perspective. As of now, I don't think I'll add anything. But as far as a pick, I am sticking with Islam Makhachev and pretty confidently. But we'll have to see. A lot of people are picking the upset in Volkanovski, and I don't blame people for doing so. Volkanovski, I think he has the skill set to pose some problems potentially. I do think he's going to get taken down, but we'll see if he can pop back up, and it should be a very fun fight. So it's a fun fight I'm going to sit back and watch, but as far as betting, nothing sticking out at this point. So I'll quickly go over my bets for the week. I have 2 units on Lookboonmee, minus 250. My only money line bet of the card. I have 1 unit on the Malarkey Prado under 2.5 rounds, minus 130. Also 1 unit on that fight doesn't go for the Malarkey Prado fight, minus 163. I have 1 unit on the Jack Della Maddalena Randy Brown under 2.5, minus 130. And then I have 1 unit on the under 1.5 for the Crute Menifield fight, minus 110, along with the fight won't start round 3, 1.5 units, minus 190. That's on DraftKings. And then I have the under 1.5 rounds for the Bukauskas Pedro, half a unit plus 117. The under 2.5 rounds for the Tahugov Brenner, half a unit plus 130. The Rodriguez Emmett fight doesn't go to decision, half a unit plus 125. And then the Klitson Rodriguez inside the distance, half a unit plus 140. Those are my 10 bets for the week. 4 of them plus money, 6, laying the juice. But there are 3 spots that I really do like on the card. It's Loma, it's violence in the Menifield fight, and it's violence in the Malarkey fight. So if those 3 come through, or at least 2 out of 3, I think it'll be a solid night. But I'll be honest, it's not my favorite betting card in the world. But I do like some of these spots quite a bit. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you guys enjoy the content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Like I said earlier, we are like 50 or so subscribers away from 19K. Would love to hit 19K by the time these fights starts. If you do like the content, watch the content, and do not subscribe, please consider hitting the subscribe button. And if you are watching for the first time, please hit the like and subscribe button as well there. So that's about it, guys. Best of luck for UFC 284. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. Instagram is DFS by the numbers. And you can check me out on the Best Bet Show 1 hour prior to the prelims. And we have a stacked panel. We got me, Uncle Weezy, Lou Betcha, and we got Billy Briz for a very fun Best Bet Show. So make sure you are subscribed. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on that as well. So yeah, guys, best of luck for UFC 284. Good luck with your bets and enjoy the card. It should be a very good pay-per-view card come Saturday. See you guys later.